morning, Freddie, and thank you for joining us this morning. Freddie is the Chief Executive Officer of the Franchise Association in South Africa, a very reputable organization. We are going to be quick with Freddie. He's got another meeting at 10, but thank you, Freddie, for joining us. So, Freddie, I'll just kick off with a couple of questions, if I may. If you could just tell our guests this morning a little bit about the Franchise Association. Our guests are food and beverage companies. So I think if you could focus on the food and beverage side, because I know that's a huge part of your membership and what you do. So if you could just please kindly tell us about FASA. Thank you, Freddie, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Ezekiel and Lynn for welcoming me and the attendees of this very important meeting. The Franchise Association of South Africa was formed in 1979. So you can understand that we are a very focused and organized institutions, as most of the associations, they fall through. And our mandate is purely to promote ethical franchising. What does that mean? It means that everyone who wants to become a member have to abide by our ethics code, meaning that you undertake not to defraud or to scam franchisees, because we are aware that there are business operators who are out there. Their main business is just to sell franchises and not to sell the product or the service. So our role is to ensure that those who become members, they abide by the code and they deliver to the franchisees what they've promised to deliver. Insofar as,
oh, sorry, Carrie.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to go to the food bev issue because I think that there's an issue that can I take 2 or 1 questions, take into account that you've got a very short time. So I wish we had more time. On the food and bev issue, in fact, that is our major percentage of our membership, in that we have the restaurants where you go in, you sit, you eat, and there are those quick service restaurants where they are mostly at the convenience stores. Then we also have what we call the takeaways, like where you just go buy and you take away and you consume it somewhere. So there is a huge market for food, and we are of the view that there is still more to be offered. Take into account that the food that we consume is largely more of South African-based cultures, whereas we don't have diverse access to sectors that also want to consume, or some they want to explore. We do have few outlets that operate like from other countries, from Asian countries, but they are not developing in such a manner that they are able to grow, because I don't know whether are they scared of franchising or not. But I think that with this kind of a venture, it gives us an opportunity to look at how best we can franchise, if I could call it, foreign businesses that come into South Africa, especially with the different tastes and menus. So I think this is a great opportunity for South Africa, and for those entrepreneurs who want to go into franchising in food, but look at a different culture, if I could put it that way.
Thank you, Freddie. And can you tell us, because you've kindly agreed you're one of our strategic partners, you're on board, you're going to have a presence at the show. You also have other strategic partners, you have collaborations with others and support that you offer. Can you advise us how you can help our foreign investors during the fair and after the food fair? What assistance can you offer these potential partners who are coming to South Africa?
I think for us, it's important because we have a partnership with the Department of Small Business Development. I think I will connect with them, because their role is to ensure that small businesses access funding to begin with. 2, previously disadvantaged entrepreneurs have access to business opportunities or investment opportunities, because I think that when you have food fair, you look for investors who can come and buy into those franchisees. Some you look at those who can come and accommodate the businesses. So I think that we have some of our members who are into property, but also we have our partner Property SA, who always look at young entrepreneurs who have products that they need to offer to some of the practitioners in the country. So having this kind of opportunity also opens up the area where some of the incoming businesses may want to source some products within South Africa, because that will be one of the major issues as to what investment opportunities are they bringing in the country. Then thirdly, we have our partner Small Business Institute, who also have an interest in seeing that there are other small businesses that are springing up, because one of the major issues is to creating employment in the country. That is the first thing. Two is to how to afford or provide investment opportunities for young people. And also we are focusing on empowerment of women. There will be a summit in June for empowerment of African women. So that will also play a part into how can the opportunities that come in terms of food fair opens opportunities for women. So there are some of the partners that I think that will be interested in understanding and getting what value can they get or bring into the food fair.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That sounds great. Fred, you did touch on it earlier, but in your professional opinion, I mean, what do you think about the food and beverage potential in Johannesburg for foreign players? I mean, as you say, you know, I mean, we love to eat and drink down here, don't we? And we love to experience new foods. And, you know, we're always looking to expand our taste buds and try different things. So, but in your personal professional opinion, what do you think of the potential is in Johannesburg for foreign players coming into the country?
I think the potential is huge, except that from my experience, seeing what other groupings are doing, I'll mention the Chinese shop, the Taiwanese shop, the Indian shops, the Indonesian shops. What they tend to do, they tend to form small cliches and form small towns, which are not readily accessible to other groupings. And that for me is a challenge. I think what needs to be done is to look at how best to expand into other untapped areas. For instance, in the shopping centers in and around the townships, you won't find a Chinese or a Taiwanese shop or an Indonesian shops. Two, in a white dominated areas, it's very rare to find those kind of shops. So in most cases, they become confined to small communities, and that they don't usually find ways to expand. So there need to be a paradigm shift in terms of how you strategically position the Singaporean investors who come in and open up the market. And I think that in that way, it will open more opportunities, and it will become more competitive as well, because now you'll be reaching out to the areas that the other foreign communities haven't attempted to invade, if I could use that word.
Thanks, Freddie. And on a financial side, do you know, is there any franchise funding available? Do you know currently at the moment, are the franchises for sale in South Africa? What is the state of those two issues?
In terms of funding, most franchise transactions are funded by the banks because of the funding models that the franchisors have. One is that you'll have your own cash. There'll be a percentage of your own cash. Some, they look for 50-50, either your 50% own cash and 50% loan. Some, they look for 40-60, some they look for 20-30. So it really depends. But we have seen some independent funders coming on board and say that they are willing to fund franchise opportunities. We are also aware of government's attempt to also fund investment opportunities through CIFA, but there have been some issues there because of the red tape. So yesterday, I received an article from the department wherein the minister in parliament undertook to review how CIFA funds the investment opportunities and try to make things easier for previously disadvantaged businesses or small businesses to access funding. So there is a variety of funding mechanism in place.
Thanks for sharing that. That sounds exciting. And I know we've only sort of had a couple of meetings with you, but what is your opinion about this food fair, about this initiative that they're coming from Asia and Singapore and other countries to South Africa? What's your opinion on it generally?
I think this is a very interesting opportunity, and I think that is an event that could actually spark more activity in the country. And I think that seeing how it is promoted, it will bring more interest. And I think that it will be interesting to see if it will generate the kind of interest that one hopes to get. And from there, I think that there should be a building momentum towards introducing those kind of business, because once you have a food fair, there will always be an expectation what happens thereafter.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, the camp after the post show is also just equally important.
And maybe just to add on that, you are aware that our president in 2019, just before COVID, so with his investment fund team, went around the world to raise investment opportunities. So I think this is one of those opportunities that I think the country will welcome well, taking into account that we are looking for direct investment. I mean, having food fair for me is direct investment, because it's not something that will take up in 10 years' time. It could happen within a few months of taking the opportunity, and some will start to trade. So it's quite interesting.
I 100% agree. Ezekiel, I'm watching the clock. We've got 10 minutes. Maybe our audience would like to ask some questions.
Yes, cool. Thanks, Dean. Thanks. I want to open this time to our guests. Anyone of you have any questions, Yeah, let's catch up the last 10 minutes, where Freddie is still around before he goes for his next meeting. Anybody? Yeah, or otherwise you can also type the questions. Come. Anyone? Nobody? Okay, while waiting for questions, I think I'll just ask Freddie one question here. Freddie, earlier on you were talking about the existing Chinese, Indians, or the way that they set up their business, food business in South Africa, right? And now the idea that we have actually is that we intend to establish a food court, right? The concept of food court, to be established in a populated area or a mall itself, would you think there's a market for that?
I think there's a market. One of you understand, as I know you are business people who are promoting businesses. One of the best tools is to how you market the business or how you market the idea, because marketing is one that convinces people to be attracted to your brand. And we often joke that you can sell an ice cream to an Eskimo. Despite the fact that they stay on ice, you can still sell ice. So it depends on how you package that ice. So I do know that our people are exploratory in nature. They like to explore. And once they break through, then it becomes easier for everybody to flock into a certain type of brand. I'll give you an example. There are new drinks which are introduced by the beverages in the industry, how they market them. For instance, let's be honest, I'll give you an example. People never used to know Hennessy. People never used to know Tanqueray, okay? But now those are now premium brands because they've been marketed, they've been promoted in such a way that they attract celebrities, influencers, and so forth. So with the kind of food fair that is going to be happening, and especially with the type of food which is brought in the country, there should be a way to communicate about how tastier it is compared to what I cook at home. So then there must be a real competition, but it will only depend on the strategic positioning of the Singaporean food court, what it offers and what value can customers look for in coming to that court. So I think it's all about how you position the Singapore food brand, if I could put it that way.